Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, when you see a winning combo, it's kind of hard to ignore, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm assuming you do. You're here right now. You're listening. You can subscribe to the podcast. We'd really like that. You can find us over at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, basically wherever you get your podcasts. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd really appreciate it. Also, you can find us on the social media, as the kids call it. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram at In The Seats, and at It's Podcast 1 for all sorts of updates. And finally, and I say it a lot, but it's true, this is most important, please pay us a visit over at In The Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because we love to write about it and talk about it, and we love it when you come and read about it. So please stop on by. On this episode, we've got a fun one. It's hitting select theaters and also Apple and other VOD platforms this coming Friday, September 17th. The film is called Best Sellers, and it is starring Aubrey Plaza and Michael Caine in a real fun road comedy. And it's the story of Aubrey Plaza, who, since inheriting her father's New York publishing house, has almost tanked it with a lot of failing young adult titles. And now her only hope is the infamous Harris Shaw, an author whose bestseller put the company on the map 50 years ago. And I mean, Harris hasn't really been around since his heyday, but Lucy tracks him down and discovers that he owes the company a book. And it's perfect timing. Harris needs money. He's also got a new book, which he hates, but his old contract stipulates that he must promote it, and it's the book tour from hell. It's funny, it's sweet, it's hilarious, and Aubrey Plaza and Michael Caine work so fantastically together. It debuted as a special gala this year over at Berlin. And we had the unique pleasure of sitting down with Canadian director Lina Roessler to talk about the film itself and just, working with Michael Caine and the joys of, hearing him scream bullshit for half the movie, which, sounds funnier than it is. It's funnier than it sounds, to be perfectly frank, but it's such a fun ride, and it's such a sweet and, deadpan hilarious movie that I can't wait for people to see it. So please go check it out in theaters and on your favorite VOD platform this coming Friday. But first, check out our talk with Lina Roessler, because it was a good one.
So thanks for having me on your show.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, just to kick it off, congratulations on the film. I really got a kick out of it. And I mean, I literally just finished it, but
good.
I guess my first question for you is, because this is your first feature, what was it about this script that made you want this to be the first time?
Well, I mean, the script is great. First of all, we did a lot of changes to it. Of course, me and Anthony, the writer, worked together. And of course, it's never a complete product. When you start shooting, things change and shift a little bit. But the story itself, I felt like I got it right away. I mean, I got the characters. I understood both of them, where they were coming from, and I could see parts of myself in both, which was kind of fun. And it's also kind of akin to it's sort of like a surrogate father-daughter kind of love story. Yeah. So obviously my father actually passed away right before we started shooting, strangely too. So then it became really deeply personal as well. But my dad loved books, and so did I. And my family is kind of nerdy that way. If we went on vacation, we just sort of read books together. So that was like the vacation. So anyway, but so I think also the way Anthony wrote it, as far as the relationship between this sort of odd couple story, and and this perfectionist daughter, and then the father like this. I could see both of their points of view. I understood them. I really loved them. You know, I liked what they were going through. I could feel sympathy and empathy for both of them. And I think that and as to why, you know, this would be, you know, when I read the script, I didn't actually understand that I was being offered the job of directing, to be honest. I mean, it sounds ridiculous now, but it actually didn't occur to me that, you know, I met Cassie and the producer at TIFF Talent Lab,
Right.
and he was one of our mentors, and he watched this self-portrait that I did, and he fell in love with it, and he really loved it. And then after the lab was over, he sent me the script, and he just sort of was like, well, tell me what you think. So that's what I did. You know, I told him what I thought, and then next thing you know, he asked me to like put some images together, make a lookbook, and then it's sort of next thing you know. So when I was reading it, I didn't think of it in terms of like, oh, this is how I'm going to direct this or anything like that. I thought of it more, I'm reading the story, I'm reading, you know, what these characters are like, where can we make things a little stronger or clearer, you know, things like that. That's how I was reading it, not with a director's kind of viewpoint, I don't think. So whatever that is, I don't know.
I mean, you may have even been reading it with an actor's mindset, thinking, oh geez, this is pretty good.
Oh,
I can play, you know.
Yeah, and I think I read scripts like that anyway, and all those things kind of, and also as a you know, I write as well, so all of those things kind of come together. And as far as understanding the points of view and putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, this kind of thing, then that sort of comes naturally, I think, you know. At least for me, when I'm reading it, I can't help it. And that's the best, when you feel like you're getting swept up in something, you can feel, you know, what the characters are going through. Then that's for anybody. Then you know that you're hooked, kind of, right?
No, absolutely. And I mean, the thing about this movie, that like the pairing works so well. And I mean, as an actor and now director, I've got to imagine on one end, it was a thrill just to be able to approach Michael Caine to get him to work with him. But on the other hand, it must have even been more of a thrill to just get him to say bullshit for half of the movie.
Oh my God, I could listen to him do anything. You know, yeah, of course. I mean, what a treat, really. And a treat is such a silly word. I mean, no, I mean, I feel blessed. You know, I feel like, wow, what an incredible opportunity, experience, just to watch him, and Aubrey as well. I mean, they're both great. And Michael, obviously, he's, you know, a well-known guy, so we all like grew up with him, but to be able to watch him work and learn from him every day was like just incredible. Yeah, it was really something special. Yeah, I can see how he works, you know, and obviously we work together, and you know, obviously, you know, we discuss things, we discuss his character, stuff like that. But I really enjoyed watching how he could, you know, maybe turn his eye or lift an eyebrow or do something so specific and use his voice in this way that is just sort of masterful, really. Yeah, so it was great. I learned a lot.
Well, I mean, that's something that I think both Michael and Aubrey do in this, because I mean, there's such subtle shifts from comedy to drama, back to comedy to drama, and like it's just really giving us something very sort of genuine. And I'm kind of curious, did they hit it off right away? Was there rehearsal time, or like some guy can imagine, because it's such a fine, unique tone that the film sets. It's not trying to be goofy, it's not trying to be overly dramatic, it's trying to be right there in the middle.
It was hard. Yeah, it's hard. It is hard to kind of keep that that tone, like, and not to go too far over on one edge or the other, and to kind of try to keep that ship on a certain course. But the way I approached it is that it starts in the beginning, and also with lens choices and things like that, and how I watch Aubrey, and in a certain kind of like palette. And then when they go on the road, things kind of go off and get a little more wonky, and then a little more like emotional and kind of real. So, but as far as how to keep the performances like that. I think everything, at least in this film, it just had to be really grounded in some kind of authenticity. So they were real people. I didn't want to make like a, the script could have gone that way into like more of a comedy, but I never felt it could be that way because, I don't want to give any spoilers away. Oh, maybe I should be quiet. But it's not all comedy. There are some real things that happen, and I don't think it would have been, and especially with these two actors in particular, like they have depth. They have, Aubrey has, we haven't seen so much of that from her, I don't think, but they can go to those places, and the characters in this film are going through these things. So why not mine that? Why not make it truly, something that's grounded in authenticity and a truth, and the whole film is about, feeling like a fraud.
Yeah.
So of course you have to kind of peel away those layers to find out, the truth inside, so I think all those things just speak to the script, and it had to be that way, at least in my point of view. So
you know what? I mean, it almost kind of speaks to your journey as well, because I mean, this is your first.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you have to sort of peel away those layers. I'm kind of curious. Did you think you were a fraud during the process, or was there anything like?
Of course.
Sort of learn about sort of, I guess, the directing process that maybe you didn't expect to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I get, of course. I mean, well, to answer your question, like 100% yes, and I still, of course, I
1,000
still
times
do.
a day. No, totally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure I mean, not like you personally, but everybody has some kind of, but this was really, at least this whole experience, how it came about. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It's even when I say, sometimes it also took a while for the film to come out. So I was just thinking, my God, did we make this film? Like, does it exist? Did we go through this? Because then the pandemic and all this stuff put things on hold. And it still doesn't feel sort of real that I made this film with these amazing people, amazing crew, amazing producers, amazing cast. But I had done short films before. I was always writing. I've been on lots of sets as an actor. But what I did learn, which sounds crazy, is I was having so much fun. Like, even I came home at night and things were going so well, or something had happened. We had to have a problem to solve, and I was totally stressed out. But then I was like, oh my God, I'm having a really good time, even though I was so stressed out. And I love trying to solve the problems, find the answer. It's like a big puzzle, and work with other people to do that. And there's always a creative solution around the corner. And we, before you asked about rehearsal times, by the way, yeah, we had no rehearsal with such a short shoot, and everything was just, once we jumped in, like, it's sort of, there's no turning back. I also come from a theater background, so I think, I don't know, this working together and to solve problems and to get things done, it's kind of, I don't know, it's fun for me. It's exciting. I mean, I should bite my tongue because, the next one might not be so fun. I don't know. But yeah.
Is that what draws, I mean, this might be a loaded question, but is that what draws actors to directing, sort of that creative sort of problem solving, that sort of, it takes a village trying to figure out how to tell a story? Because I'm always fascinated on just seeing actors who want to direct, but also conversely seeing directors who want to act either in their own movies or sort of in someone else's movies. It almost feels like on one end, there are actors who sort of want to embrace sort of the problem solving of storytelling, and those directors who just want a day off and be able to play a character on set.
Right. Well, I can't answer that for everybody. I know that now I would love to have a day off and act, sometimes, because it's so fun. But for me, at least, I started directing from this book of short stories that I wrote, and almost as an act of procrastination. And I don't think I ever, this sounds annoying to anyone who's, but I don't think I ever really imagined myself like, yes, I'm going to be a director one day. This is what I want to do. I think it's all came for me part and parcel is this idea of telling a story.
Right.
So I think really that's the bottom line. And if I can, and I guess from this theater, but or I, even when I was a kid, I was always writing stuff, telling stories, to kind of find a way to do that. And if you're doing it with a group of people who are on the same page of trying to also tell this story, I mean, that's a joy, you know. So I think there are kind of spokes of the same big wheel for me, and that wheel is basically just, you know, this human kind of need that everybody has, I think, to kind of tell stories as a way of understanding ourselves and you know, our place in the world, and why things happen, why they, you know. So just this kind of that kind of basic need. Maybe it sounds sort of, I don't know, flighty or something, but yeah.
Not really, because I mean, it's one of those things, like, we all see stories, we all relate to stories, and I mean, I'm kind of curious. This is something I always ask. It's always a little silly, but I like to ask it. Was there sort of a linchpin story or moment or piece of work that you got to see in your younger years that made sort of the light bulb go off and go, I need to be able to tell stories somehow?
Oh yeah, and it was and this is actually, this is kind of personal, well, obviously. But when I was a kid, I was in 8th grade and I was doing a play, and it was all about the Holocaust.
Right.
And it was outside of school, and it was all, and I was like, I became completely absorbed in like you know, I was sitting at the dinner table telling my parents, like, and my sisters, did you guys know this happened? Did you guys know this happened? And I became like a total nerd about it. I was reading everything, and I was so like deeply affected that the play that we were doing was actually based in a reality, like that had happened to real people that lived and breathed. And then you know, it was so strong to me. And then I was getting really into it. And then my father told me that actually that's your heritage too. And that blew me away. Yeah. And it literally blew me away. You know, I was like 12 years old or something. So I could, you know, my jaw was on the floor for weeks, you know. But then I just realized, oh my God, like this is how we have to educate people. I had this sort of feeling of like, oh, we have to like be able to tell these truths to, like, so people will know these things, people who don't know these things. And I really thought, wow, there's like a power in this, in telling these stories, which are true story, you know, even the fictional ones, the good ones have something true and authentic about them that will ring in somebody else's heart, you know, that can kind of bind us together to make us understand each other, and hopefully, you know, do better, do what we can, you know, on our short time here. So
Sure.
yeah.
No, I mean, I'm curious because, I mean, obviously, like you said earlier, it's been on the shelf for a bit for obvious different reasons, but I'm kind of curious, when does the pressure of telling the story sort of go off your shoulders as the director? Is it like once it's out there and there's an audience for it, or does it ever?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought once Michael and Shakira, his wife Shakira, they saw the film when it was done, and they were so kind, and they loved it. And Shakira was really, I mean, she thought it was one of Michael's the most amazing performance, all these great things that they said. And then I thought, okay, I'm done now. Now they love it. It's okay. Now my job is done. I don't have to worry about anything else. But that was a long time ago. and now like you watched it, right? And like
Yeah.
you're my first interview, and we had our first review. And then there's things like, you know, things like critics, people, critics, other people. And so now I'm sort of curious. I'm more, I think, curious about how people are going to receive it, what they'll think. But at the same time, I know it's really none of my business. You know, it's like also as an actor or even doing theater, you would always, I used to live in Montreal. We would wait up at this bar for the newspaper to come. So we'd all be sitting around waiting for the reviews to come in, or New York to like read the review of the play. And now, I don't know. I think it's not really my business. I want people to see what I think Michael and Aubrey have given, and it's them I'm proud of. You know what I mean? It's like I want people to see them. Like and then if they like it or not, I have to. It's sort of it's none of my business, but I think I'm fiercely proud of those guys, and just I think they're just wonderful in it. So
Well, and I mean, that's a fantastic thing, because I really think you've made a film that strikes such an honest tone. And I mean, particularly in some of the earlier scenes when you see them at the party and they're at a place and he's trying to kill Carrie, with his stick.
yeah.
It's hazardous, overwhelming. But then later on in the dumpy motel, it feels honest and truthful and really genuine. And you've made a beautiful slice of cinema that I hope people get to see.
Oh,
And I just want to thank you
that's so
for being here
nice.
today.
Oh, that's really nice. And like I said, you're the first sort of interview. You're the first person I've talked about this. So it's you're warming my heart. So thank you so much.
It's a fun,
I do
beautiful little
appreciate it.
film, and congratulations again, and thank you again for the time. This was fun. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
All right,
Nice to
thanks.
meet you.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.